everyone, this is Darshita Singh and today we are going to learn Exploring Magnets, which is chapter 3 of class 6 NCERT. So before we begin, let me ask you a question. Have you ever wondered how people found directions before, let's say, Google Maps, GPS, or even roads? Like thousands and thousands of years ago, people traveled across huge oceans in ships and they could not use mobile phones or satellites. Yet they managed to reach their destination safely. How? And this is what we are going to do in this chapter. So let's start by learning the story of Reshma. So our chapter begins with a story about a young girl called Reshma, and she lives in Kerala. She loved writing stories. So one day she decided to write a story about an ancient sailor carrying spices across the sea. While writing, she imagined that a terrible storm appeared and thought that the cloud covered the sky so the sailors could not see the stars. Now think, in the ancient times, sailors used the stars to find direction, but if the stars disappear behind the cloud, how would they know where they are going? Reshma also had the same question and she researched for the answers and discovered something very interesting. She learned that sailors used magnetic compass. So she had seen magnets on pencil boxes, toys before, but she had never thought they could help us or help people for that matter to travel across oceans. She was very curious, and that curiosity begins our journey into the whole world of magnets. So what do we understand by magnets, everyone? So let us understand magnet very deeply now. So magnets are basically substance, or I should say objects, that attract certain materials. Now notice the word certain materials. A magnet does not attract everything. If I place a wooden pencil box near a magnet, nothing happens. If I place an iron nail near the magnet, it completely sticks to it. Therefore, magnets only attract particular objects. So magnets are everywhere used. You may notice that some of them are used in pencil boxes, refrigerator doors, whiteboard dusters, loudspeakers, earphones, electric motors, mobile phones, toys. So magnets are not just classroom objects, they are useful in our daily lives as well. Now let's learn types of magnets over here. So there are two types of magnet: natural magnets and artificial magnets. Long ago, people discovered certain rocks that naturally attract iron. They are called lodestones. Nature made these magnets without any human intervention or any human help, and therefore they are called natural magnets. Now artificial magnets. Later people learned to make new magnets themselves, and they made magnets called artificial magnets. Almost every magnet we use today is an artificial magnets only. Magnets are made in different shapes depending on their use. Some common shapes are like bar magnets, U-shaped magnets, ring magnets, or disc magnets, cylindrical magnet. Although their shapes are different, all magnets have the same basic properties. Now let's learn magnetic and non-magnetic materials. So imagine I have a table full of objects. Let's say a wooden ruler, a plastic spoon, an iron nail, a steel paper, a rubber eraser, a glass marble. If I bring a magnet near each object, will they all stick? Of course no, right? We already learned कि magnets कुछ ही object को attract करते हैं. Now why this property why magnets had this property is because different materials have different properties of their own. In this particular activity 4.1, we are actually doing कि हम लोग different objects लेंगे and उसको predict करेंगे कि something will going to happen or not. So as a scientist never guesses, they observe. So this activity asks us to collect different objects and predict whether they will stick to a magnet or not. So after making a prediction, we test each object and finally we compare our prediction with observation. And this teaches us that science follows by important procedures, by chapter 1 wala, that science is about prediction, experiment, observation and conclusion. Chapter 1 यहाँ पे हमने पता नहीं कैसे घुसेड़ दिया. Anyways, so magnetic materials, let me tell you what magnetic materials are and non-magnetic materials are. फिर we'll do this. Okay, so magnetic materials are the materials that are attracted by magnets. Iron, nickel, cobalt and some alloys made from these materials are magnetic materials. Okay, now non-magnetic materials that are not attracted by magnets are called non-magnetic materials. Very simple. और non-magnetic materials का हमारे पास example ज़्यादा है, जैसे wood, plastic, rubber, glass, paper, cloth, etc. So many students think all metals are magnet. Well, that is incorrect. For example, gold is a metal but it is not magnetic. Silver is a metal, it's not magnetic. Copper is a metal, it's not magnetic. Only certain metal like iron, nickel, cobalt are magnetic. Suppose you accidentally drop some iron pins on the floor. Instead of picking them one by one, you can use a magnet and the pin can stick to the magnet, making the job very easier. So this is a practical application I inserted here, just to tell you कि magnets कितने ज़्यादा useful हो सकते हैं. So pencil, eraser and paper clip for an instance, इनका तो मुझे बताओगे कि ये stick करेंगे magnet पे या नहीं करेंगे. This is a question for you all. Now let's learn about poles of a magnet. So take a iron bar. Now do you think every part of it attract iron equally? For this we are going to do an activity, 4.2 activity. What you have to do, you have to spread iron fillings on the sheet of the paper and place a bar magnet under the paper. Now tap the paper gently and what you will observe, that most of the iron fillings collect near the ends of the magnet. Ends बोले तो north pole or south pole, basically poles. So the attractive force of the magnet is strongest at its end, and there are two ends called poles of the magnet. One is called the north pole, पहला end which is north pole and दूसरा end which is south pole. Now let's see why poles are stronger. So the magnetic force is concentrated at the ends of the magnets only, and therefore the poles attract iron much more strongly than middle. Now let's see if a magnet can only have one pole. So suppose you break a magnet into two pieces. Without seeing on the slide, मैंने change कर दी इसी वजह से. You have to tell me अगर हमने break कर दिया है, so will I get only one north pole and only one south pole? I'm waiting just so you can type the answer in the comment box. Of course not. Each broken piece becomes a complete new magnet. Now each new magnet again has one north pole and one south pole. This means a single magnetic pole cannot exist alone. So every magnet always have two poles and the poles always exist together. Now let's do directions finding with magnets. So you imagine that you lost in a forest and there are no roads. Your phone battery is dead. How can you know where is north and where is south? Of course a magnet can help you, but कैसे? And this is where 4.3 activity comes. What you have to do, you have to take a thread around the middle of the bar magnet. Let's say ये bar magnet है यहाँ से you have to take a thread, उससे बांध देना है, hang it freely and turn it in different directions. Now each time allow it to stop moving. What you will notice that every time it settles in exactly the same direction. So freely suspended magnets always points in north-south direction, and the end point towards the north is the north seeking pole or the north pole, and the other end is called south pole. For example, if ये north है और ये south है, तो then this will be north for you and this will be south for you. Now why does this happen? Because earth itself acts as a giant magnet. It has its own magnetic field, and the suspended magnets aligns with the earth magnetic field, and that is why it always points north and south. Now let's talk about magnetic compass. So magnetic compass is a small instrument used to find directions. We all know that. Inside it there's a tiny magnetic needle that can rotate freely. Usually the north pole of the needle is painted red. When the compass is placed on a flat surface, the needle automatically aligns itself to the north-south directions. By looking at the needle, we can identify east, west, north, south as well. क्योंकि हमको अगर north पता चल गया है, south पता चल गया, तो बाकी तो निकाल ही लेंगे. Now, how do we know an object is a magnet? So, suppose someone gives you a identical metal rod. One is a magnet and the other is just an ordinary rod. How will you identify that one is magnet and one is not? What you have to do, you have to suspend each rod freely using a thread, and the rod will always point towards north-south direction. So this is where our chapter ends. मतलब the video ends, not the chapter. अभी बहुत सारा chapter बचा हुआ है. So we'll do this chapter in bits and pieces. I guess 1-2 part और लगेंगे, but we'll complete it. Till then, take care. Bye bye. Tata.